all kinds of opportunities to fundraise for them as well. So I would definitely look into that. I don't know, anything else you want to add to that?
You know what, I also just do or fundraisers for people, like a family. Somebody's grandfather, their aunt, their uncle, and they're raising funds for their medical expenses, or somebody's home burned down and they're raising money for that, or just a crisis or something like that. So don't think it has to be an organization that's so official. It could just be people helping people, families helping families. And so that's another way too.
Good point, yes. So this is a list of the top 10 reasons why someone should do a fundraiser, and we don't need to go through all of these one at a time, but I will tell you that it's really important to have this. So when you have that packet, have something like this. If it's not this, have something similar to this in your packet, because someone who's considering Tupperware for a fundraiser needs to know some of these. They need to know these points. That the average customer orders $30 to $40. That we have a lifetime guarantee and there's no receipt necessary. A lot of people, number one, don't know Tupperware's still around, right?
Right.
Number two, when they find out we're still around, they don't know that we have a lifetime guarantee. And I'm telling you, you know what? When they're looking at making a decision, if they're the decision maker and they're looking at should we sell candy bars, where they're making $1 a candy bar or whatever their profit is, and then that candy bar's gone, and they have to go ahead and carry the inventory and get it in ahead of time, and then hope that they sell it. We don't do that. We don't have to have inventory ahead of time. So these are all points that they need to see. No inventory for you to keep up with. We can customize. I always use the word customization. Always. I want people to know if what we have to offer, if the basic fundraiser that we have doesn't work, let me customize it for you, for your needs. Let me work it out so that it can be exactly what you need. And we can do that. As independent consultants, we have the right to do that. We're allowed to do that with our business. So, like I said, I would have, and it says in here that you can earn 15 to 40% profit. And we'll talk about how you can offer that to them if you don't already know. But this should be something that goes in every packet that you have available when you're meeting people, okay?
So this is your packet to the contact people that you're going to be doing.
Correct. And so here is our, I don't know, Loretta, if you want to talk about this?
So cute. Anyway, so is the next one on there too?
It is.
All right, so this. So I think it was just today, they updated it. There was a little glitch in the printing. Anyway, so I think they straightened that out. So now I posted it in the group, and I'm sure Pam will post it in the champion team group. All right. So this flyer is something you print. Okay, it's something you print. Use your Staples Business Advantage program to have these professionally printed. Okay, so I printed them like this, front and back. Okay, like this, and make sure you're adding your contact info. I don't care if it's fundraising or not. Your name and number should be on every single piece of literature that goes to a customer, okay? I actually had somebody call me once and join the team because she found a flyer on the floor of where she worked, and there was nobody's contact info on the back.
Too.
All right, really? Yeah. So seriously, make sure your contact info is on the back, right? Or front. So I actually have it on the front and back. So I don't have fancy dancy whatever. This is the PDF flyer, and in my PDF version, I have just enough to allow me to print like where it says sign your name. Okay, you can use the fill and sign feature in Adobe in the reader, okay? And so that's how I have added my contact info to all literature, all sales. I always make a version for my team and then a version for myself with my personal contact info, okay? And did you know in that version, okay, I don't pay for it, I think, because no one bills me, but anyway. You can highlight, so then I highlight it so it stands out, it's only black, okay? Anyway, so it's meant for a signature, so you can fill and sign, you say yes, I want to sign it, and then you just put your contact info and you highlight it, so that's what I did. All right.
You can just pick where it ends
Yeah,
up on the
you can put it where you put.
Yes.
Yeah, you can pick where you want to put it. That's why here it's like this, and it's across the front, but in the back, it's like, whatever, so, okay? Yeah. Did you learn something new today?
Yes.
All right, hope it works for you. And then, I don't know what's next, so that's the flyer. Okay, so then the order form is also part of that. PDF flyer, all right? So this is the order form. You know, you find what works for you, all right? You find what works for you. But for me, when I send these packets out, I want to be able to then run these through a copy machine so that I can give a copy to the organization because they're going to do the packing, okay? All right? If you're doing the packing, that's wonderful. Again, I also need a copy to put the customer's order in their order. So it looks like, you know, the Girl Scout cookie order form, okay? So every single product is across the top, and then there's 2 pages. So you could do this front to back like this. That would give you 13 orders for one sheet. Okay, you could do that. That's how it's designed to print. Me personally, I'd rather just run all my copies like this, so I'm not going to do front and back. Okay, so really is personal preference. When I do a packet for an organization, I don't know if we're going to get to this later. I would put 2, because this is what I did before. I did 2 fundraiser brochures and 2 sets of order forms. So 2 fundraiser brochures, and in between that are the order forms. All right, so there's that. Okay, so I don't know what's next.
And do you put a letter or information or?
Yeah, there's more than that.
Okay.
That's why I didn't know where
All right.
we're going now.
So the other thing is you can use the catalogs and the brochures for fundraising as well. But when you do this, it's not 40% profit. You're getting 25% profit on everything that you sell, whether it comes out of the flyer or it comes out of the catalog. So you have 25% to work with. I would suggest saving a little bit of that for yourself, maybe 5% or 10%, but you could give them 15 or have them work for 20. So you have the ability to do that. And some people would rather do a fundraiser out of the full line catalog because they want all the products available to them. They don't want just a limited brochure or a limited flyer. So it's really up to you. And what happens is you need to, that all comes out when you have that meeting with the planner, with the person who's the decision maker. That's when you find all this out, but you need to know that this is an option that you can do.
Yeah, so I just want to add to that. So when you're with that contact person, right, you can offer them the full line, you can offer them this. This, Tupperware is going to give that organization 40% profit. So if you're gonna sell $1,000 and you're using this fundraiser flyer, all right, they're gonna take that 40%, okay, so $1,000, that would give them, the organization, $400, okay? On the remaining $600, you get sales credit for that $600, not the $1,000, all right? Because that 40% went to the organization. They're not going to give sales credit on top of it, you know. No. Anyway, so you get 25% on that $600, not the $1,000, okay? And that's backed by Tupperware, and you give 40%. But like Gina just said, you want to use this, and right, you work with the organization. If you're dealing with, they want it simple, go with this, okay? But if they want that full line and you're working a big organization, whatever, definitely now that percentage. Before, right, Nancy? We never had fundraiser flyers, guys.
Yeah.
We never had fundraiser brochures, never. We always used the full line catalog, and we gave 15%. That was like standard, you know, that's what kind of like never written down, but that was like everyone gave 15%. That comes out of your 25% commission. But when you're talking a $10,000 fundraiser, I'm okay with that. And then you get to write that off. That was a donation you made. That was your profit that you're not going to give to whatever organization, school, program, whatever it is. That's a tax write-off for you as a donation.
I have a question on that.
And yeah, you know, what you want to do now or questions?
yeah, let's wait and do that.
Okay.
So write down your questions, whatever.
So here's your regular order form, and this is the one that Razzmatazz uses, but you can make one up. There's plenty online that there's actually a Facebook group which is Tupperware Fundraisers 411. And there are files in there, so and that's just a conglomeration of consultants all over the country who like to do fundraisers, who share their best practices and their files, and you know, so you can go and find order forms on there as well, and ideas.
Yeah. You can also use the short order forms from Tupperware.
Yes, yes, you can. And so this is another idea for a fundraiser, and this is just the one item fundraiser. And I love this idea. If you're working with a group, and especially if they need a quick turnaround, so if they know that they have 1 week to collect orders and they need to collect as many as they can, sometimes this is the better way to go. Pick something that, if it's a seasonal product, people love that. This happens to be the item for the Halloween. And what they did is they upped the price just a little bit so that they're covering the shipping and handling and the tax. So it's great. It's $25 out the door per set, and they're getting their profit back from that. So that's another way that you can do that. Do you want to share anything about that?
I want, talking about shipping and all that, so on your fundraiser from Tupperware, there's no shipping charge to the customer, okay? But we pay 7% shipping, maxing at $20. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right? I gladly pay the shipping, and again, that's a tax write-off for me. If you're going to do the regular line, every customer is gonna have shipping. All right, so it just adds a layer to that. So, and then here, you can customize, that's a magic word for you guys. Magic word, customize. So you build it in, don't be losing money if you're gonna do this. And in October, we might have something pink coming out, right guys? You know what, you can take that one pink product and run that as a breast cancer fundraiser. And just make sure you're building in the cost for shipping and tax when you're doing that.
Okay, and so Loretta covered this about the 40%
sorry.
program, the profit structure. But just so that you all understand, you're making your 25% on the additional 60%, because the 40 is going to the organization or group. And then, as an independent consultant, you have that 25%, so we just talked about that. So I don't think we need to go over it. You guys all understand that, right? We don't need to go over that anymore? Okay. And then, okay, so this was talking about how to prep.
Okay.
So, Stephanie talks about when you're going into a meeting, guys, that meeting is probably one of the most important things you're gonna do in your business. Don't take that lightly. When you're meeting with a planner who's considering having a Tupperware fundraiser or not, you gotta really plan in advance for that and be prepared to go in and wow them. And what does that include? That includes taking some products that you know they're gonna be wowed about, okay? So if you've had a conversation and you know they're already doing the exclusive fundraiser, take a couple products from that line. If they haven't decided, take a couple from both. And just, let them see what there is, the quality of the product and what we have to offer. I think that really helps. And I have a meeting coming up at the end of the month, and there's gonna be about 30 people in that meeting. Like, they have their whole committee coming to this meeting, but there's one decision maker. It's really important to make sure you're keeping communication with that one decision maker, not just the whole group at that one meeting, but keep the communication going with that one decision maker so that they get to know you and feel comfortable with you and trust you. So if it comes down to, are they picking Tupperware, or are they picking somebody else, you have that kind of that ace up your sleeve that you went the extra mile to create that relationship with them, that you hope they're gonna choose Tupperware. Besides the fact that it's a 71-year-old company with the brand name recognition versus whoever else they're looking at, right? So prepping the materials, taking the products is important. And then you want to talk about what you put in your packet and
This is like, okay, so I want to back up just for a second. This is a different level, and so not only are you prepping the packet to the contact person, you need to prep too. And now put yourself in the shoes as a Tupperware fundraising coordinator, a Tupperware fundraising representative, okay? And use that word and don't call yourself the Tupperware lady. All right, you're pretty much dealing with those contact people, a business, an organization. All right, you need to come in there from a business professional angle versus the fun Tupperware lady, which you all are, okay? And you can do that, if you do a kickoff party or something like that. But at this point, you really want to be a little more professional and call yourself that fundraising specialist. I mean, I know you've used those titles and stuff, and you can. You know why? Because you are an independent representative with Tupperware. You are the president, vice president, treasurer, and all that. Okay? All right.
that's a really good point.
So you speak to the packet that you meet with the contact person with. 'Cause you're good at that.
Yeah, so when I meet with the person, I go in, depending on if they're looking at both, then I'm taking in packets for both. If they're looking at just one, I'm taking in the packet for the one. I'm taking some products, I'm taking the catalog or the exclusive fundraiser flyer. And what I'm doing is I have a bullet list for myself of things I want to make sure happen in that meeting. Not only do I want to introduce myself and exactly what Loretta said, I am the fundraising specialist or director of fundraising, whatever your title is that you give yourself, and I have matching business cards and the letterhead that matches, so it looks very business professional. It comes from my fundraising office. And when I go in, I introduce myself and get to know some of the people in there. And then going through my bullet points, one of the things that I think is really, really important is when you set up the meeting with the contact person, is to ask a few questions beforehand. Like, what is your group looking for? And what have you done in the past that has or hasn't worked? And if it didn't work, why didn't it work? Like, you want to have some of that already prepared so that when you're going into the big meeting with everybody, you can present why Tupperware is better, because you already know what those obstacles were that they dealt with in the last fundraiser. Okay? Does that make sense?
Did you write that down? Those are key questions.
And we actually have a list of questions that I used 22 years ago that you still use today.
I still use it.
And they're just really good questions because it really gets them to think also. And what helps is when you ask them what didn't work and why didn't it work, you're able to come back with why Tupperware will work based on what you know didn't work for them, which is really important. And there are questions if it's a school versus if it's an organization, and we can talk about that. We don't need to get into that right now, but there are questions that you want to have. So in that meeting, you're addressing all of that with the group. But one of the key things that I do after every single meeting that you really should do as a best practice is follow up with an email, a thank you email, but not just to thank them, to recap everything that came through in that meeting, in that conversation. And the reason that you do that is to make sure that you're both on the same page. Because God forbid you heard her say something that she didn't say, but you thought that's what you heard. That could sway the whole thing. So you want to make sure that you're recapping your conversation and the things that they told you in that recap email, thanking them. Okay, I think that's really, really important, because if something doesn't mesh, you want to know before they're making that decision. You want to, get that ironed out. The goal letter.
That's huge.
Goal letter is huge.
Huge.
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
You can call it the contract. This is honestly your contract. It's a contract between you and the organization. And like Gina said, once they say, yes, we're going to go with Tupperware, you're going to write this down. When it's going to start, when it's going to end, if you're providing prizes, if they're providing the prizes, what's the ultimate goal of the organization? Are they trying to are they raising money for the playground? Are they, is it medical expenses? Our goal is, $1,000, whatever. All of that is in this goal letter. To me, it's the contract, okay? And all the dates, delivery, and all that. You're gonna plan all this out, all right? And everything. What else is in there? I don't have it in front of me.
Well, it's an example. Yeah, we don't have there, but it's an example. If you sell, $1,000, this is, if you have 20 people selling and they each sell 100, there'll be $2,000 in sales, and you're making $500 off of that, or whatever the 40%
One
is.
of those key questions was the number of participants. So if they've already done a fundraiser, that one's another key one. If they've got 100 people in the organization or the school, whatever, the class, and you say, okay, so how many of the 100 participated? Normal is about 25%. So don't think, oh my goodness, I got 100 packets to make, that you're gonna get all 100 packets back. You're gonna barely get 25 back.
Yes.
And just be ready for that.
Yes, because it's the same as, when they say you have to over-invite for your parties because only about a third attend. Same thing goes with this.
Yeah.
Same
and be
exact
excited.
thing.
You should definitely be excited, okay? And so if you take that 25 number multiplied by the average order of 30, 40, that gives them an idea of what their goal can be for that fundraiser, okay?
And those letters are online, so it's not, you don't have to make it up from scratch.
No,
It's all there. It's all
And
there.
the final thing in that goal letter is, at the very bottom, see, you have to buy the supplies ahead of time. All right? If you're gonna go full on catalogs, you've got to buy, you can't just give them one, at least give them 2 in a packet. All right? So if you're gonna be buying 200 catalogs, you're gonna buy 200 order forms, you're gonna buy the envelopes to put them in, you're gonna be putting up money up front. All right? And so in the fine print on the bottom is, for whatever reason they need to cancel, you get a $100 restocking fee, or they have to pay for the supplies, because you have to buy those ahead of time. And that's professional, all right?
Yes.
Don't feel like, I can't do that. Yes, you can. okay? Yes, you can. If you're gonna go this far, and sometimes things happen, whatever, okay? You're gonna go this far and invest $1,000 in all that printed material, then there needs to be that clause in there that if they don't follow through, that they're paying their restocking fees for all this.
Absolutely. If you are fortunate enough to get a large group like a school, one of the things that I would suggest is when we're talking about communication is to make sure that you're sending reminders home with the kids. And that was one thing that I loved doing, my biggest fundraiser. I bought the little ice cream scoop magnets, and I tied a little tag to each one that said, here's the scoop on our fundraiser, and it was the start date and the packet turn-in date, and then the date that they could pick up at the school. And it had all those important dates for them. And that was really fun. So doing that, and then when you're about 4 days out from the last day that the packets are being turned in, you send a little note home in each of the kids' book bags for the mom to see that don't forget, packets are due by Friday. So keeping that communication going is really, really important.
And then today too, a lot of the schools have their automated either remind text messages, whatever, they can blast the parents that way too. And I know we talk about schools a lot, but if you're not doing if you're doing a little family with 5 people, you don't have to do that, okay? And I don't do that with a family who's raising money for grandpa or something like that, because I don't need to do that for them, you know.
Right. Oh, I love this. So guys, our business and growing our business is based on referrals, is it not? Like, you want to have referrals in business, and so fundraising should be no different. And so one of the things we put in the packets is a referral coupon. Stephanie, so I never used a coupon. I actually had a little, like a door prize slip, and it was on there, but I love this idea. And what she does is she puts these in all the packets, and so when someone has a referral, they fill out the slip and turn it in with their orders. And if Stephanie or the Tupperware person, makes contact with the referral, and the referral dates a party or another fundraiser or another event, and at least commits to and puts a date in Stephanie's date book. But jeez,
Why is that so
I don't know.
Every time.
Before the check goes to the association or to the group, then she puts $5 profit in for that individual. So I thought that was great. Yes, and she said there was one girl who wanted to make, in her training, she was talking about one girl who needed to make $30, and Stephanie said, well, if you get me 6 parties, that's your $30. So the girl went out and got her 6 parties. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, so you definitely want, here's the thing, when people are participating in a fundraiser and going through a brochure and they're filling out their order, they're not thinking about referring someone to you. You have to tell them through this form or some way that you need referrals and would appreciate referrals. And a lot of times when they see how easy it is and they love the products and see that, oh my gosh, we're getting 40% profit, I know someone who needs a fundraiser at my church, and they'll fill out the information. No strings attached. How hard is that? They'll do it. You'll get those referrals. So you definitely want to do that.
Yep, I'm doing it, definitely.
And we have those. We're passing them around, so you'll get
Yeah,
some.
we'll pass them out as soon as we're done.
Okay. I think we already talked about. Oh,
This is the
no?
participant packet, and I probably don't do it like Stephanie. This is mine, okay? So, I do go out and buy these envelopes, plain white envelopes, and instead of putting another piece of paper in here that I have to stuff, and people don't really read, it's right on the cover of the envelope. So I do have to print these myself. I've tried to get these printed in Staples, but they won't print them because their machines get too hot and it will melt the glue that will seal the envelope. So they can't run these for you. I've tried. I'm like, I had this all ready to go. I had 300 packets to do and I didn't know this. And I'm like, what do you mean you won't print them? She's like, oh no, they can't go through. Our machine's too hot. I'm like, what? So I printed them myself, okay? So anyway, but I like it. And if you don't, what I used to do is I would print them on a half sheet of paper and then I would cut them and I would tape them to the front, okay? Listen, you do whatever you need to do, okay? All right? So, or you can stuff it inside. So what I like is, on mine it says, you are helping in the name of the organization you're helping. Thank you, all right? Thank you for supporting our efforts. We need everyone. You're partnering with a world famous product, backed by a lifetime guarantee. And then I say every participating family, so this was to a little cheerleading group, so it was families, okay? So you can change the verbiage there. will receive a token appreciation gift. So if they're maybe it's a pillar, guys. It's a token appreciation gift just for taking a packet and trying to get orders, okay? Plus, every family with $200 or more in orders on product sales will receive a free water bottle. All right? And is there a water bottle in this fundraiser? I usually try to pick, all right? So I usually try to use a product that's in the fundraiser brochure. So because when I buy those water bottles, I actually still give back to that organization on top of that. All right, so that's a double whammy for them. So I would pick something in here. So this envelope was before this fundraiser was live, okay? So that's totally up to you. If you have extras of something, you can use whatever you have in your okay? Please return in red to their contact person by whatever date, okay? And then follow these simple steps. Put your name on the packet envelope. Tell your friends and family. Well, this says use the duplicate order form because we do still, while supplies last, have a special fundraiser order form. You can get them from Tupperware until they're gone, because now you can print them. Please include the customer's name, address, phone number, because sometimes, you know what, you gotta get in touch with the customer and stuff, so you need that information on there. Add sales tax. You guys know we live in Ohio, okay? So it's gonna depend on what county this fundraiser is going to be shipped or coming out of, okay? Fill out the order line, you know, all that kind of stuff. Who the checks are made out to, okay? Now with Tupperware's fundraising program, if you're gonna use their fundraiser, their 40% fundraiser, you can only collect checks and cash. You can't use credit cards. Okay, because this goes kind of geared towards, this is a child going out there collecting orders, and we don't want children to have credit card information floating around and getting lost in backpacks, because I don't know about you, but my son, who knows what's in his backpack? He's already graduated, but anyway. Okay, so that's what that was geared towards. And then the fundraiser contact for the organization is on here. Then the Tupperware contact, that's my info, if you need to talk to me directly. Both of our numbers are on here, okay? Then thank you again for your support. So that's what goes in my packet. So that little referral thing goes in here, and then the order forms, and then the fundraiser packets, and I usually do two.
And I would also suggest that you leave extras with your contact person.
Yes, absolutely.
Because someone's gonna say they lost it, or they need another one, or you know, whatever, so you want it, instead of running back and forth all the time or sending things, you wanna just leave extras with that contact person. And then, the kickoff meeting. Have you done a good kickoff meeting?
Yes.
Talk about it.
Okay, you have too. You know what, I love suggesting this. It is when everybody comes to pick up the packets. So I did this for school, and so we got to do a presentation, the table was set up, the packets were all there. So the families came and picked up you could do a goal board. So on the board, like this all came from that meeting with your contact people, all right? So we're going for 5,000, all right? So you have a goal board, you can leave the goal board at the organization, in their lunchroom. So in the lunchroom, we set up a little display with the goal sheets right there, extra packets, like I said, if anything forgets. And you do a demonstration. So if they're going full line, you can do any one of our demonstrations, all right? If they're gonna go with the fundraiser, you're gonna use the products in the fundraiser line. You could do a kickoff like a bingo event. You could do it at their place. You can use our studio. Guys, I highly recommend, because you're gonna be face to face with the customers, the people going out getting orders. They can ask you questions. And what are you doing? You're building your contact list, all right, with them there. What else would you like to add?
I always have giveaways, something fun to give away. And you want to have music. If you're doing it with kids, you want to have music. You want it to be upbeat. And you know, maybe you're giving away a little keychain or something. But one of the things I do to get them excited is I offer incentives, and I talk about the incentives. And if I can get the gifts in advance, I'll have them there, because then the kids go home and tell their parents that they want whatever it is that they just saw.
Right.
So you definitely want to build, and again, this is for kids. Now, if you're working with adults, or like the church that I'm working with, you can still do incentives. And what you can do is say, if you reach X number of dollars in your orders, I will hand deliver all of your products right to your door. So you don't have to come and pick them up. And people love that. You know, you can ship right to them, or you can hand deliver it to them, and they love that. And I would always put those orders at a higher amount, at like $300 or $400. If you turn in $400, I'll bring the orders pre-packaged, ready to go right to you. But you also can offer gifts and, you know, incentives that are in the form of gift cards or some other product that you have. You can be creative. So it depends on your audience, it depends on your participants, and you're gonna know what that is.
And one idea for incentives is it doesn't have to come out of your pocket all the time. Think about it, you wanna build the community, so you can go to the local Dairy Queen and say, hey, I'm the Tupperware, don't say that. I'm the fundraising coordinator for XYZ team, all right? And we would wanna know if you'd like to be a sponsor and help donate a gift card for the organization, all right? So use the community to help you use those incentives, and they want business too, all right?
Yeah, it's a great idea, for sure. Okay, and so we talked about communication, collection day, and one of the things I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't matter how many times you tell them the day that everything's due, they're still gonna be late. They're still gonna be stragglers. So what you do is you build in the collection date earlier than you know is really the collection date. And the only two people that know the real collection date are you and the coordinator. And that's it. So, for instance, if you know that you're gonna turn everything in, really you want everything by Monday, you tell everyone it's due on Thursday or Friday. She knows that on Monday, she's gonna have stragglers. You can even drag it to Tuesday if you want to, but that's just, and the other thing is, talking about that is, I would suggest that you have 2 full weekends in the length of time that you do a fundraiser, because most people will reach their inner circle on the weekends, not during the week. So I would definitely make sure that you've got 2 weekends in there.
And I recommend not going past 2 weekends.
Yes.
Because you need to think about that person that bought something on day 1 and has written a check.
Yes.
This person is now 14 days out before you even might get the packet. And then by the time you process and even get that check into the bank, that check could be out there for 3 to 4 weeks. All right, so no more than 2 weeks is I highly recommend.
For sure.
And I usually run midweek to midweek, like Tuesday to Wednesday or Wednesday to Tuesday, like that. So I'm not starting on a Monday and I'm not ending on a Monday. So it's like Tuesday, Wednesdays are my magic days.
Okay, and so when you're putting it in, if you're putting it in as the exclusive line, you're actually setting up a fundraiser. It's really important that you be careful about the name that you put in and the address, because that's where the check is going. And whatever that name is that you put in there, that's who the check's being made payable to. So, go ahead.
Okay, so right now our online fundraising is down. So that's absolutely correct, okay? So when the online fundraising Tupper Connect link is working, okay? Right, that organization name needs to be the name of the organization that check is gonna get cut to. All right, because when you close the fundraiser online, okay, Tupperware then cuts a check to Nancy Lagan's preschool team. Okay, whatever the name of that you're just right in front of me, so use your name, okay? All right, so that's highly, highly important. Now, when you collect the orders, these hand orders that you're gonna be processing, you're collecting all of the money. You are going to give that 40% check to the organization. That check is coming from you because you collected all of the money. All right, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
It's made out to you, right?
Huh?
And the check is made out to you.
You have to make the check.
When you're collecting the money from
The
the
money's gonna, yes,
consumers,
the
checks
customers
made out
are
to you.
already checks out to you. I take all the money and I will cut Nancy Lagan's preschool team a check
Okay.
from that money. Yes. I'm gonna do questions now or we're gonna wait?
Like on the Tupperware fundraising website, on the order forms, it keeps track of how much you're gonna owe
Yes, yes.
them, and then any extra expenses that you might take out of it is on you.
Yeah, there's, at the end of the party summary page, it tells you what the organization's profit check should be.
Oh, okay.
If you
The
don't do
bookkeeping
that.
is easy.
Yes.
If you had a fundraiser, I started one September 1st, so I called, and if you had it in the computer online by August 31st, you can, it's okay, you can use it this month, and it has to be done by the 27th.
I was gonna say, cause I did one.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
have-
but right now you can't start a new one.
You can't start a new one after
You
August
can't start a new
31st, till
Tupper
October,
Connect.
till the new thing.
The ones you've already have, yes. So this month, the link
Yeah.
went down, okay, because we're transitioning to our
The new
new
one.
system one of these days.
So, and if you're doing the regular line, you're just gonna put in as a party, you're gonna type in the name of the fundraiser so that you know who that's for. And you're keying it in just like you would a party.
You're
So-
not going to use the fundraiser party drop down, you're gonna
Right.
use party.
as a party. And let's see, prepare for payment if it's regular line, we talked about that. Tupperware mails check, talked about that. Bagging up the fundraiser, so you could do it one of two ways. When you're doing the exclusive one, you can say that you're gonna bring everything to the contact person. You could ship it all to the it really depends on what you decide with them, okay? What they decide with you, really. But if you're packing everything up, I would suggest setting time aside, making copies of every order form, putting a copy of that order form in the bag for the customer. If you have multiple participants that were collecting lots of orders, you bag everything and label it per participant. Okay, so if Nikki had 4 orders and Pam had 5 orders and Nancy had 5 orders, those 4 orders for Nikki are all in one box, Pam's 5 orders are all in her box, and Nancy's are all in her 5 box. And then that way, when you take it to the coordinator, it's all labeled, 1 of 1. If Nancy might have 5 boxes, I have 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4. You gotta make it as easy as possible for the person who's collecting that and then distributing it.
Yeah, that's why it's really important that they keep their packets together and their name is on it. All right, so Lori Morris, right, like Gina said, collected 10 orders. I have a box for Lori Morris. I don't bag every order that Lori had. I put all of Lori's orders in there, I give her 10 bags, and Lori packs it up for her customers. That's how I do it.
Right. Yeah, that is a way you can do it, for sure. Oh, it's really fun on delivery day of the check. So what you could do, even though Tupperware is sending the check direct to the organization, if this was a pretty big organization, a big school, or a big fundraiser, I would suggest making a big deal out of doing a check presentation to them. And make sure you get pictures, because you want that on your social media all over the place, and you want it on theirs too. And you can even order those big checks. I did that for one of the schools that I did back in the day, and delivered a big, huge check for their profit. And they put it on the cable channel and everything. It was awesome.
How big was that check?
It was a lot. It was 17,000. I think it was
It
17,000.
was 36, wasn't it 36,000 for the whole?
It was
thing?
$36,000 fundraiser, and I think I gave them 35% profits, whatever that comes out to be. Yeah, but that was when our profit structure was a little bit different,
Yeah.
so you can't do that now. Darn it. Okay, award prizes, that's when you have those top sellers. I would have the top sellers that won those gifts we talked about, the incentives, I would have them come and receive that in front of everybody. Make a big deal out of it, because you know what? If the school or the organization is gonna think about ever booking another one with you, you wanna make sure that that excitement level was there at the beginning when you kicked it off, it was there at the end when you closed it out.
Another fun thing too is like PTOs, PTAs, they a lot of times will offer the party. So you're not given the party, they are, but you're part of it because they reach their goal and everything. So like I said, it doesn't always have to come out of your pocket, all that incentive, so use the community.
Okay,
All right,
that's good.
question.